Hi guys, welcome back. Today will be another build guide and this will be the Assassin CoC Ice Nova medium budget version. I know many of you guys have been PMing me for this build guide, but sorry I didn't have time to do a video guide for this. And I know some of you have actually managed to sneak your way to get the POE or the buy list, because I've actually already written out the buy list in the low budget Google spreadsheet. Okay. And as usual, I will only go through the key important parts of the POE and what to take note, following with a Q&A section. And if there's any other question, you can come over to my Discord channel and ask me. And I will be showing the slides on CoC mechanics, but I will not be explaining this time because I've already gone through that in the low budget version. So if you want to hear more about how it works, you can head over to my low budget version. Otherwise, just use the slides that I will show later on for reference. Okay, so this is the CoC mechanic. Feel free to pause anytime just to have a look at it. And just a high overview of the build guide. The estimated cost of the build is around 38 exhausts without skill gem. Okay, so you can just play this build without the normal skill gems first, and then with the skill gem it costs 63 exhausts. Yes, it's like a 25 exhaust lead because awakened cast on critical strike costs about 11 exhausts. It's very expensive. It's nearly like half the cost of your skill gems. Okay, and for our mapping DPS on POE, it will show like this. It shows about 8.6 million, but I can guarantee you it is not 8.6 million. It's definitely more than that because we are going to prop more, and this figures is just an average on how much it's going to dish out. Okay, and for our bossing DPS, it's just like this because this has been tweaked to fight Shaper or Guardians or anything, and they have more resistance and stuff like that, so your damage will definitely be lower. Okay, and for survivability type, don't really know what to write here, so this is the decent, not the worst, not the best as well. And as you can see, we have actually a decent amount of energy shield, and this is based off from a level 90 assassin CoC. Okay, so we have 4.6k ES, we have 15k evasion, which give us 64% evasion chance. We don't really have any armor because I am not going to run determination. And then we have cap resistance with lightning, max lightning resistance also. So there's no spell suppression chance as well. This is just one of the small notes that was taken on the tree, that just nice it had this spell suppression chance. Okay, so this is how the skill tree will look like. There are lots of different skill trees, so one after level 68 if you are just starting this off right from the start, and then proceed to level 80. So 80 is still not very effective yet, but some of you might probably be using it and leveling it already. And then level 90 will be like the peak of this build, where you can start to see damage dishing out and like really get to play this build properly. So there are other levels also, like when you level up from level 90 to level 100 is just more ES. Okay, there's only one special note I have added, which is this here, charge mastery. I took 3% increased damage per endurance, frenzy or power charge. Only this, and the rest is just additional energy shield already. So you can see at level 90 we have 4.6k, and then at level 100 we have more than about 1000 extra energy shield, so it gives you more survivability. Okay, there will be no leveling guide for this POE. If you really need one, please refer to my low budget POE. I have the guides over there. So on top of that, we are going to only run one set of cluster jewels, the large and the medium ones. And it will be the large cluster jewel for Core. I think this is very standard. So it will be Blanket Snow, Prismatic Heart, and Widespread Destruction. If Blanket Snow is too expensive, you can always get Blast Freeze. Or was it Freeze Blast? I can't remember the passive, but yeah, that one. And for our medium cluster jewel, you can get either 4 to 5 passive. It doesn't really matter because you just want to connect 4. Okay, so bear that in mind. You want to just get Vest Power and Magnifier. And then yeah, you can equip your jewels socket, which I will explain later. Okay, and please take note of the jewel sockets, your placement is really very important. Like example, for here, it has to be Thread of Hope, and this has to be in a large ring so that we can allocate Heart of Ice, Arcane Focus, and Blast Radius. And then Militant Fate will be here, which I'll explain later, and Frozen Trail will be here. So I think Frozen Trail, you can also put it here. It doesn't really matter. This is just another of the rare jewel. But yeah, Frozen Trail will be over here, and then the last will be Natural Instinct, which must be here. Okay. And next to take note is we only have 3 key passive skills. So the first one will be Inner Conviction, which is given by Militant Fate. 3 more spell damage per power charge. Okay, this is very, very important. Okay, the next one will be Pain Attunement, because we are going low life, so 30% more spell damage is literally free. And then the last one will be Ghost Dance. Okay, so Ghost Dance will recover energy shield equals to 3% of your evasion rating when you get hit. So I think a lot of you might be asking, like, why Ghost Dance? Okay, so Ghost Dance actually literally increases your effective HP. Okay, because first of all, the recovery is instant. Okay, there is no recover over time or something. As long as you get hit, you will straight away recover the energy. 3% of your evasion rating. So which means we have 15,000 evasion, right? 3% of 15,000 is 450 ES. Okay, 450 ES might sound little to you, but it's actually a lot. Okay, so when you recover this ES, you also start to recover more of it with your hits. We are going to run the Watcher's Eye, which gains ES per hit. Because we are going to hit so many times, it's more or less like we're going to leech straight right up instantly. Okay, so the leech here is not really accurate. You can see 786 here, but when you actually play it and you take tons of damage, let's say maybe you take 4,000 and then you're not dead, by the next second you can see that you straight away will gain up that energy shield. Okay, and then the other question probably you guys will be asking is why Militant Fate over here? Okay, the reason is very simple, because we have taken a lot of passive nodes over here. So because a lot of nodes are allocated over there, it gives us a lot of devotion points, and therefore there will be a lot of additional mods on the Militant Fate itself. So for this round, I am going to use plus 2% to all resistance per 10 devotion. Okay, the other one doesn't matter, you can just get anything. This is the important node. And then with all the allocated nodes over here, right, you can see there's a plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, even this is like plus 5. We're going to have a total of 70 devotion. So that means that's an additional 14% increase in elemental resistance. Okay, that is something that we are actually lacking in the build. This is not technically correct because we are going to use Wise Oak Flask, which I'll explain later. Okay, so this is the skill gem section. First of all, Awaken cast on Critical Strike is kind of like mandatory for this build because of the increased cooldown recovery rate. As you can see, we are going to have level 8 of Awaken cast on Critical Strike. Okay, some of you might ask, how do you even get the plus 3 level? It's actually from this passive tree over here, plus 3 to level of all critical support gems, and it actually supports this Awaken cast on crit as well. Okay, and this is important because it's extremely hard to get other sources of increased cooldown recovery. So here is technically the best and most effective way to obtain it. Okay, I know it's expensive, just get a level 1 and slowly level it up. Okay, for your main 6 link skills, I would try to get them at level 21 because the damage difference from level 20 and 21 is really huge. Like your other skill gems can be level 20, but I really recommend this to be level 21. Okay, so I'll just give you a quick example. Like let's say for Ice Nova, if I'm going to reduce it to 20, you can see there's a huge chunk of damage difference. Okay, so I mean it's worth to spend that because it is your main skill. Okay, so please do take note of that. Okay, my bad. And then moving on, before that, for inspiration, try to get a Divergent variant because Divergent will reduce the mana cost of Cyclone and Ice Nova. If you do not get the divergent one, it's fine also. So Ice Nova will cost like 4 mana, and then Cyclone will cost like 2 mana. But if without divergent, it will cost hold on a second. Yeah, Ice Nova will cost 9 mana instead. Okay, because we're gonna proc so many times, this is just 9 mana per proc on the Ice Nova. Okay, you gotta take into consideration of other skills like your cosplay trigger or your debuff and movement as well. Okay, next up, the cosplay trigger. I think this is very standard. Frostbolt for the extended balls, Frostbomb for the cold exposure, and Ice Nova is probably the better option over here just for more clear speed. Okay, because you can proc more clear with the Frostbolt balls that are running through. Yeah, so really nothing much to replace over here. And then our auras, so Hatred, Zealotry, and Valgrace. Okay, this is a trailing, okay. So the reason why I put Purity of Elements here is because you're gonna use Purity of Elements when you are mapping, okay? And then you're gonna use Zealotry when you are fighting bosses. So the reason is simple. You don't need lots of crazy damage to fight your maps. Your sustain and AoE damage should be more than enough already. And that's where Purity of Element comes in, because it grants you a free of ailment ticket to run your maps very, very smoothly. See, you and nearby allies are immune to all elemental ailments. So that means like chill, shock, ignite, and then you have scorch, sap, and frozen. You'll be immune to everything. Okay, then you can just spin and go very, very smoothly. Okay, and then when you're fighting bosses, Zealotry is the one that you need, because you want to have more burst damage, and the consecrated ground created by Zealotry, right, is going to give you a lot more advantage. Okay, yeah, so the other auras are like Discipline, Precision, Herald Eyes, Defiance, Banner for more evasion. Try to get that in 21. And then here will be Summon Skidded Bots, and we're going to link with Awaken, Unbound Ailment, and Bone Chill. It gives us a lot more damage. Okay. For the movement skill, I am going to go with Frost Blink. It's just my favorite here. But you can always change it to Flame Dash. My opinion is definitely Frost Blink over Flame Dash, because Frost Blink will allow you to react to sticky situations immediately. Okay, but Flame Dash will not. So let's say for example Cyrus is going to cast a Die Beam on you, but because Flame Dash has animated like animation casting time, right, you might not dash in time to get away from his beam, but Frost Beam will allow you to do that and immediately run away from it. Okay, so that's just a personal preference, of course. And the last will be our Vortex Hex Touch Frostbite over here. I'm going to link it with Arcane Surge, and please bear in mind that this I've only put it at level 6. So you might be asking me like, why level 6, right? It's because of how many times you can trigger Arcane Surge. Okay, so if you see over here, Vortex costs 15 mana. Okay, so Arcane Surge you will gain Arcane Surge after a spending of total of 26 mana, which means every 2 times you use Vortex, you're going to get Arcane Surge. Okay, so that is very, very often, because Arcane Surge lasts for 4 seconds and Vortex has like less than a 2-second cooldown. It's probably even lesser than that, okay, because there is more recovery. Yeah, so this is just a full uptime, because if you were to go higher level, you can see gain Arcane Surge after spending a total of 32 mana, which means you will need to proc Vortex 3 times before getting Arcane Surge. So that is why you keep it at level 6. Okay, so on to our items and equipments. So first is our cosplay. For the cosplay, you need to get a 14% increased attack speed. This is to hit near the peak of our APS. And then you will also need to weapon enchant with accuracy per quality. So you will grant 1% increased accuracy per 2% quality. Without this, you will not hit 100% hit chance. Okay, so it will be 99% without this. And then our usual Prism Guardian. Okay, let me cancel this first. And then for the Hubris Circlet, you will need to use the Awakener's Orb and combine it with the Warlord's +1 to maximum power charges, and the Redeemer with nearby enemies have -9% to cold resistance. Okay, so once you have done this and you manage to get an open prefix slot from it as well, do benchcraft the increased energy shield on it, unless you are very lucky and then you got increased energy shield when you are using the Awakener's Orb. Okay, for our enchantment, go for the more 40% increase Ice Nova damage. Okay, and then next will be the usual Chevron's wrapping, and the fingerless glove is also another Awakener's Orb combination. You will need to use the Hunter which has 10% chance to unnerve enemies, and then also the Elder mod which has 14% increased attack and cast speed. Okay, so many of you might be wondering like why the Elder mod? Like I'm pretty sure there will be other mods that are better, right? So the reason is very simple, because I need a good suffix and we need to try and reach the peak of the APS. So as you can see, we are now at 7.37, and if we were to go over 7.57 or we are hitting less, it also means we are going to drop our total damage, okay, because of how the CoC mechanic works. Do remember to refer back if you can't remember how it is already. And yeah, on top of that, I will actually want to have a free prefix slot. So combining a prefix and a suffix will give me more chance for me to craft energy shield, increase energy shield onto your glove. Okay, next will be the Sorcerer Boots. So the Sorcerer Boots is the usual ES plus resist plus movement speed. I only included one source of energy shield over here instead of the flat one. If you manage to find a prefix slot, you can just benchcraft the flat ES. Otherwise, if you have everything, this is like nearly the near perfect boots, and it's going to cost very expensive. Okay, so next will be the Circle of Fear Sapphire Ring. Okay, so there is no implicit on this. You can get any modifier on your implicit, whichever is to your liking. Okay, but the main mod is you need to have the cold damage buff from Herald of Ice. That's the first, and then the second is the Herald of Ice has increased buff effect. So this two is mandatory for the build. Remember to use a Turbulent Catalyst as well, so that you can increase both the 2 damage modifier on the Circle of Fear. Okay, and we're just going to use 2 of it. So next will be the belt, which is the Stygian Vice belt. Okay, so this is actually the problem of the build. Okay, I would say this is the most problematic part, because we will need to get double ES and then fire and cold resistance. It must be fire and cold resistance on it. Okay, so on top of that, you also need to have a free suffix slot. Okay, this is because we need to benchcraft strength and dexterity, as we are lacking we are lacking in those attributes. Okay, so if the belt is too difficult to find, you can just remove one of the modifier, but it also means that your ES is going to drop. If you are fine with it, then sure, definitely just get one with one less ES mod. Okay, for our flask, the first one, you're going to need the Enduring Eternal Mana Flask of Sorcerer. Okay, this is very, very, very important, because with this flask, we will constantly have mana regeneration plus lower cost of all our skills. It doesn't need to be like this 28% reduced mana cost of skill. It can always be lower, it's fine, but you need to try and have this modifier. Okay, so I'm just going to give you an example. Let's say we don't have this, our Cyclone is going to cost 3 mana, but our Ice Nova is going to cost 23 mana. Okay, so what if you're going to proc like 5 times of Ice Nova every second? That's going to be like 100 plus mana already. Okay, we don't have so much mana for it, and that is why this flask is very important. With this flask, right, we're going to hit about 9, 10 plus ish, more than half of it. Okay, so that is really, really a lot. Do bear in mind. And then next, we're going to use a Quicksilver Flask of Draining for more spell damage leech, and then Diamond Flask of Impala for the base critical strike chance from the Diamond Flask, and also more evasion rating during flask effect, so that our evasion will hit much higher. Okay, so without the evasion we're going to hit lower. I will show you that. But before that, some of you might be asking, why are we not taking the other critical strike chance suffix modifier for Flask? Is because we have already hit the cap for critical strike chance. Okay, you can see my cyclone is already 100%. So even if I remove it, this diamond flask that gives us 100% global crit strike chance is enough for us to hit 100%. Okay, and then like I mentioned just now, the evasion rating, if I remove it, it's going to be 12,000. So additional 3,000 will mean higher ES regen for our ghost dance and evasion as well. And then next will be the sulfur flask. So for the suffix here, there is actually two options you can use. One is either the reduced effect of curse, or the other is the immunity to poison, because our chaos resistance is not really the best, not the worst as well. I've seen like minus 60%. And yeah, so for those of you that are really scared on poison, right, or yeah, poison, you can just use the immunity to poison ones. Okay, and last will be the wise oak for damage penetration against resistance. Okay, last but not least, for the item, right, I do not have an actual footage of how do you do the Awakener's Orb, but I've actually written down in the Google buy sheet how you can do the Awakener's Orb technique. Okay, so please remember to check the market for the actual thing by itself first, because some of them might be cheaper to buy it straight with that two modifiers, and some might be cheaper to just do it yourself. Okay, so like yeah, I've written the steps here. Like before you purchase, make sure the helmet, one of them is like, for example, for the helmet is Hubris Circlet, and then you need to make sure that you only have this modifier on the helmet itself. So how do you fuse it? Is like right click the Awakener's Orb, and then left click the item that is not the Hubris Circlet, and then lastly left click the item that is the Hubris Circlet. And then if you have additional open prefix, please craft increase energy shield onto it. Otherwise you can just use the Orb of Annulment and YOLO, but if you're unlucky, then that one is just good luck to you. You probably have to do another one. Okay, so on to the Q&A section. So first question, this is very usual. How far can this build take you? I will say this build can do every single thing in the game except the fear. Okay, and then once again, the new Uber Elder content, I am not sure because I have not attempted it. I don't think I will be anywhere near as well. So I really can't say about that. If you guys have actually tried that out, maybe you can help to comment in the section below how difficult is it and what you think this build is capable, how this build is capable of in dealing with the new Uber Elder contents. Okay. And next, is the occultist version better? Okay, so I know there has been a lot of debate between like occultist and assassin. TLDR in short is just occultist has more AoE, has more ES, and has slightly more cold damage, but it is slower. And the assassin has more critical rate, critical multiplier, faster as well, and it's very easy to generate power charge, okay, as compared to the occultist. So it really depends on what you want. If you want a faster but less tanky version, then you go for the, as in faster and less tanky version, go for the assassin. But a slightly buffer and slower but more AoE version, you go for the occultist. I know there is like other version as well. I think I saw one Raider or Sentinel also. Oh, that one is just too funky. I didn't go and research on that. Sorry. Okay, and next. So how should I purchase the items, or how should I transit from the low budget? First of all, you should always purchase your equipment first. Okay, definitely your equipment. Like I'm talking about the items from your weapon all the way until the belt. Okay, including your abyssal. And then once you are done with that, get your jewels and cluster jewels. Okay, once you are done with this, do up your flask and you can actually play the build already. So you don't really have to wait until you get the skill gems. The skill gems is another level of luxury. Of course the awaken cast on crit is very important, but you can start playing the build already. Okay, it will work fine. And then next, the last thing to purchase will definitely be the skill gems. So purchase your 6 link first, and then the rest one by one slowly. Okay, Okay, and next, can I buy corrupted items? Okay, the answer is yes, you can definitely buy corrupted items, but please do remember, if the corrupted items are not the socket colors or the links you want, you are going to spend much more to to make it the correct colors and links. Like, let's say for example, if the helmet you bought is a corrupted 1 blue socket and you actually need 4 blue, which means you will need to benchcraft 4 blue with Val Orbs, okay, and then you need to link it as well with Val Orbs. Otherwise you can use the new tainted currency and try your luck. Okay, next, why not use summon Ice Golem to solve the accuracy issue? First of all, summon Ice Golem is not tanky at all. It always dies, and because it always dies, it doesn't give you that full uptime of accuracy that you need. Okay. Secondly, we don't have space to use like cast when damage taken to keep constantly summoning our Ice Golem. I don't want to waste like just 2 sockets on it, and that is why I choose to take the nodes over here as compared to other people, which they don't really take it, because here it gives us not only crit chance but global accuracy, and I can actually allocate precision has 100% increased mana efficiency, so that we can hit the near peak of about 100 mana to spam our Ice Nova and other skills. I don't want to be so bound to the unreserved mana. Like, I saw some players actually have like 50 mana only. I mean, it's fine because we have a very low mana cost, but in situations where you need to spam both Vortex and your Ice Nova, and then even your Frost Blink, okay, or even your what's that, your Conspiracy and Trigger and whatever, 50 mana is not enough to sustain. Okay, it is definitely not enough. That's why I have chosen this path here to solve all the problems. It just takes away one big problem from it. Okay, and then next question, can this build do the Fear or Cyrus 9? I will say the Fear probably not. Okay, the Fear is really difficult. You can try to attempt at white maps. I'm not sure how good this build will fare inside. But okay, there is a chance that this build can do the Fear. Okay, what you need to do is probably buy Ice Spear. Okay, if you can change this to Ice Spear, I think it might work. Okay, so I'm just going to try it now and show it to you. Ice Spear actually has a lot more damage than Ice Nova. Okay, so I'm going to have a double Ice Spear. Okay, so Ice Spear, it will be first form or projectile. I'm not going to use the second form because second form will mean I will need a certain amount of distance, because we're going to proc it very near, right? So Ice Spear, first form or projectile. Oh, I don't have GMP over here. Okay, so this is better off. Okay, maybe you can change Frostbolt to greater multiple projectiles. Yeah, this works. Okay, this works. So all projectile. Okay, you can see that the damage is actually slightly higher. Oh wait, sorry, you will probably need to change this as well. So Ice Spear probably with inspiration. I think I can only take out this. Yeah, greater multiple projectiles. Where is it? Here. Yeah. Okay, so this is how it works. You're not gonna have added cold damage. If you are going to try and use Ice Spear, like level 21, was the other one 21 as well? Okay, the other one is 21 as well. You're gonna have about 13.7 DPS. Okay, I forgot to change this as well. Okay, you're gonna have about 8 million DPS on the boss. Okay, on like the Fear bosses. I am honestly not sure if that is enough to burst down a boss. 8.5 million is not exactly accurate as well, because we need POB doesn't really account for all the trigger rate, APS cooldown shenanigans that will help to sum up the real DPS of this build. Okay, so I am really not sure, but I am guessing if you are using Ice Spear, the chances of you clearing the Fear is much higher. Okay, so do remember that. And then next, is Frozen Trail needed for the build? Okay, I think some of you might have actually ventured into POE Ninja and see some of the CoC builds, and all of their builds do not use Frozen Trail. Okay, I do not know why, but I've tested it many times and I don't see a reason why you should not use it, because Frozen Trail gives you a lot more clear speed. You are not going to just shoot one Frostbolt projectile and expect everything behind to be cleared from just that single ball. It doesn't work that way. So at least one is needed. Otherwise, you will only constantly see like one ball projecting in one single direction. But if you have three Frostbolt projectiles, at least the clear will be much better with the Ice Nova that you are going to cast on it. Okay, so next, is there a higher budget for this build? The answer is no. This is the highest budget I will ever build, and I think this is actually more than enough to clear every single thing in the game. Like even the fear I told you, if you are actually testing out, you can just buy 2 Ice Spear, and then with multiple projectiles, you don't need to awaken multiple projectiles. So just the greater multiple projectile will do, and you can see the damage is actually very high against bosses. So yeah, this is the highest budget I will do. It's enough for you to enjoy the game and most of the contents of it. Okay, that comes to the end of my build guide. Overall, I will conclude that this build is extremely fun to play with. The correct phrase to use will actually be like oddly satisfying. Yeah, oddly satisfying is the correct phrase to use for this build. It has really very fast clear with the cold, chill and freeze. It also allows you to map very safely, and the AoE is pretty huge for a build like this. So that's why in the past few leagues, right, you can always see that there will always be lots of people transiting into cast on crit builds after the second week or so. Okay, even after GG decided to nerf it, people are still trying to find ways to play this build because it's just so fun. Yeah, for those of you that have played in the last past of few weeks ago, you'll probably understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, like even now, if you were to go to POE Ninja, right, you can see Occultist is at number 1 for the most played class, and CoC is the highest contender damage for Occultist. Okay, don't believe me? Let me show you. I'm already at that page. See? So I've actually filtered. Okay, let me just refresh, okay, to show you exactly. So I'm going to filter Occultist, and I'm just going to filter DPS. You can see the whole chunk of them is... Okay, I think this guy is kind of like cheating. Probably he's playing with the Watcher's Eye, but you can see the whole chunk of them is just cast on crit. Okay, Ice Spear has the highest damage, so definitely going Ice Spear. Ice Spear is kind of fun as well, but it has lesser clear speed as compared to Ice Nova. Okay, so I think Ice Spear is more for when you want to go and one-shot bosses. Yeah, but the main point is I'm trying to show you everybody that is the top damage contender here is playing Cyclone cast on crit. The version of cast on crit. Like I only see one that is Power Siphon Kinetic Blast. Yeah, it's crazy. It's about more than 95% of the top damage contender is cast on crit. Okay, so yeah, ultimately just at the end of game, this build should be more than enough for all of you guys out there to enjoy Scourge to its full potential. Okay, if there's any other questions, please head over to my Discord channel and ask me. And once again, thank you for watching. Do remember to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.